Across our country, we as drivers are killing and being killed at a rate as high as 50,000 a year. Not to mention another 2 million who are injured and crippled. Hi, I'm Pat Summerall. I recently visited with some safety professionals who are very concerned about this epidemic-sized problem, and they and a growing number of people feel the time is long overdue, that we, you and I, must no longer accept as fate this senseless slaughter on our streets and highways. Yet when these people began to talk to me about driving fatalities, I thought to myself, this problem is so big and so overwhelming, what can one person do to help? But as they talked, their ideas began to make sense to me. And I'd like to share some of those ideas with you. Let's begin our search for the cause of driving accidents as we are riding with Patrolman Joe Gordon of the Georgia State Patrol.
One thing that most people overlook and never even take into consideration as a bad factor to be involved in if you're going to operate a vehicle, and that's your emotional state. When you're upset emotionally, you're angry or you're very disappointed or upset, you are not utilizing your concentration on anything but that problem. You're driving the vehicle probably by instinct, which at times that can be fine, but when that unexpected crisis throws up in the road ahead of you, you're not going to be able to react.
Officer Gordon is speaking from his years of experience when he describes how our emotions distract us from our driving, and we make costly mistakes. He's not alone in this thinking. A study by the Menninger Foundation of accident cases brought into a hospital showed that 90% of those people causing the accident were experiencing some form of frustration, disappointment, or other such emotions just before their accident. Now, does that mean that people having accidents are all emotional misfits? No, not at all. But knowing how our emotions affect our behavior will help us understand why normal, intelligent, well-intended people have accidents. Now let's watch some case studies, reenactments of driving accidents and the people involved. Hopefully, we'll see what really causes the accidents. And as we're watching the people in these stories, we should look within ourselves as well. Let's start with the accident that we saw earlier at the street corner. And we'll see that it actually began several miles away.
Bob's Plumbing. Oh, yes, Mrs. Thomas. So you did get the water cut off. Great. No, that's impossible. Really, I have a rush job that's ahead of you, and... Yes, ma'am. Okay, but how about 2 hours? Okay? Now, don't panic, Miss Thomas. Okay. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye now. Another rush job, Harry.
In this business, what other kind is there?
Well, I may not be back for a while, so if I'll tell you what, just take a message and tell them we'll handle it, okay? Just tell them we'll handle it, but it'll be late this afternoon.
Okay.
Gotta go.
I'll take care of it.
What is it, Susan?
We've come up with a great idea. We want to rewrite some of the dialogue in our play.
Yeah.
You mean you want to rewrite some of the dialogue in Macbeth?
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea. I tell you what, tomorrow, you bring that before the class, and we'll see how they react.
All right.
Every corner is a red light. Either one way or a red light. Man, I haven't seen so many red lights in my life. Better get that light.
After the smoke and the dust have settled, after the ambulance and the police have left, A question will remain. A question will be etched for a lifetime in the minds of all of those people involved. Why? Why did it happen? We saw in those last few seconds how Bob chose to risk running a red light. You see, he made that choice while his emotions had overthrown his normal good judgment. And who among us hasn't left late for an appointment and then, just like Bob, tried to make up time driving? But there are ways to protect ourselves from this kind of behavior. So let's back up. Let's rewind Bob's story and rewrite only one thing.
Slow down. I'm not going to get a ticket, and I'm certainly not going to get killed for Mrs. Thomas's sink. Get hold of myself. I just get too rushed sometimes. It just isn't worth it.
You saw what we rewrote. We simply gave Bob the ability to see himself. In that moment, he saw how his impatience was going to get him in trouble. But this time, Bob's attitude protected him. You see, a positive attitude about ourselves and an understanding of all the things we have going for us in life that could be lost is our best defense to protect us from taking senseless risks. This thing about attitude is a very key factor in becoming a safer driver. We all, hopefully, start the day with a positive attitude. But sometimes our attitude can be very fragile and easily bent out of shape.
Frank, I thought you'd start vacation today.
That's not till tomorrow.
Hey, have a good time.
Sure will, thank you.
Hi. Say, Frank and I are going on vacation tomorrow. Yeah, we are. And I was wondering if you could take in our mail.
Frank, are you still here? I promised this load of gas 30 minutes ago.
I got here early.
I don't want to hear that. I need to deliver it.
I got here early,
We need to
Bill.
go. When I ordered, I got to deliver it.
The truck
man.
was broke down.
We got to deliver it.
Okay,
Don't want to hear it. Deliver it.
Right. Oh, I think it'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's just a heck of a way to start a vacation. I don't understand it. I don't understand Bill. He... I just don't understand me getting jumped on. They work on time. The truck's broke down. I can't help it if the truck's broke down. I think when I get back, Bill's going to get a piece of my mind.
Frank left early this morning in hopes that he could get home, at a good hour this afternoon so that we can finish packing.
This well-marked two-track crossing was on Frank's regular route. For 7 years, he had crossed it. Now his wife and children are crying out, why? Why did it happen? What went wrong? Well, Frank's tragic story gives us another chance to learn how our emotions, in this case anger, affect our behavior. In fact, anger can totally blind us to risks. Risks we normally would consider childish or even stupid. Is there another choice Frank could have made that morning? Well, let's rewind his story and see how he might have used his confident, positive attitude to protect himself.
Frank, are you still here? I promised this load of gas 30 minutes ago.
I got here early.
I don't want to hear that. I need to deliver it.
I got here
we
early,
need to
Bill.
go. When I ordered, I got to deliver it.
The truck
man.
was broke down.
We got to deliver it. We promised it. We got to deliver it. Get it out.
Bill, wait a minute. We got to talk this out. I don't know what's gotten into you. I've never seen you like this. I can't go out on my route with us at each other's throat. What's the matter?
Oh, it isn't your fault. I got 3 stations out. I got 2 drivers sick. The phone's ringing off the hook. These people wanting gas. It's not your fault. Go and deliver that load. We'll talk about it when you get back.
Okay.
Frank's approach to his problem certainly worked for him, and it was a good approach. Some solutions may not be quite so simple. The message for each of us, though, is that we need to be aware of the stress and the emotions we are feeling and take steps, like Frank did, that will get our emotions under control and our attitude back on course. Do you see where these stories are leading us? Well, their point is that we must take deliberate actions if we are to become safer drivers. Now, I didn't accuse you of being a poor driver, not at all. But we can all work to become safer drivers. For example, another reminder for all of us comes from a man named Carl.
Here's the paperwork for that order, Carl. Okay, thank you. Great.
Let's see, where should I go first? I got the construction site on the south side. I need to get that subdivision over by the river, too.
So when your father gets home tonight, we'll talk to him about it.
Mama, I'll clean up my room if you talk to Daddy.
Well, in that case, I might talk to him double hard, okay?
Okay.
We'll discuss it with him, and then you can call your friend and tell her, okay?
Okay.
God, I wish I'd organized these before I left the yard.
Well, I'm sure Tammy will understand if you have to make it some other time, okay?
The tragedy of this accident and thousands of others every year is that people suddenly become innocent victims. In an instant, plans and dreams are shattered and lives are permanently changed. Like Carl sorting through his deliveries, who among us hasn't at some time been driving while looking at a map, taking notes, or searching through the glove compartment? Well, these are all outward signs that our attitude about safety is getting weak. If only Carl had made another decision that morning, what a difference it would make in his story.
Carl, you know better than this. You cannot do 2 things at one time. Now, you're a professional driver. Pull this truck over and get your deliveries in order.
This next story we have saved for the end. Not because it's the least of our driving problems, but because it represents the biggest driving problem we face today.
Hi. Fine, how are you? Well, I've got some good news for you, too. I got the promotion. Yeah. It came through today. They gave me everything. Uh-huh. They want me to start as soon as possible. Yeah. Thank you. Well, some of the people in the office wanted to go out and help me celebrate my promotion after work. So I'll call you when I get home. Yeah, okay. Great. You too. Bye-bye. Okay. Your promotion. Thank you, and to good friends. I still don't really feel promoted.
When you get that name on the door, you will.
No, when I get that check and the mail. Yeah, that will be. That will be.
Right.
I enjoy it. Oh, that's good. Right. Oh, really? Oh, I think I've had enough. Gosh, I didn't realize how much I'd had.
I'm glad the people that gave me the promotion didn't see me spill that wine. How embarrassing. How could could I be so stupid to drink that much? Oh, I've got so much work to do tomorrow.
The effect of alcohol on our driving is treacherous. After a drink, our minds begin telling us, I'm doing just great. It seduces us into thinking that our judgment has never been better, when of course what's happening is just exactly the opposite. In fact, nearly 1/2 of all the traffic deaths are the result of people being convinced that they had everything under control. They were feeling good. Well, of course they were. The alcohol convinced them of it. You know, we may still laugh at the comedians on television as they're playing the part of a drunk, but our society has stopped laughing at drivers who are under the influence of alcohol. Now, even social drinkers, not just the drunks, who drive under the influence are often finding tough criminal penalties hanging over their lives. Let's look back on Carolyn's celebration and hope that she understands that she can make other choices.
So I'll call you when I get home. Yeah, okay. Great. You too. Bye-bye.
Carol, you haven't had anything to drink.
No, thanks.
Are you sure?
Well, I'm driving. I've got to go home and call Paul. I've got a lot to do.
Oh, but we need a toast.
Okay. To good friends.
Yeah. And promotions.
And promotions.
So what have we learned? Well, I think the best lesson comes from the people in this program, when we saw them the second time, after we rewound their stories. What we saw was that they each had a better, more positive attitude, an awareness and an understanding of all the things of lasting value in their lives. And this positive attitude protected them from taking those senseless risks. But every one of us can become a safer driver if we choose to. After all, we each write our own story. We begin by making a commitment to ourselves to make safety a deliberate part of our driving. In fact, we can make our attitude about safety as important in our lives as those values like families and friendships. For me, when I slip behind the wheel, my seatbelt is a good reminder of my attitude, my state of mind. For example, if I begin to tell myself, Pat, you don't have time to put on that seatbelt, just keep on going, I know that that's a warning that I'm probably under too much stress to be driving safely. Or imagine if a person is too angry to put on their seatbelt. Well, that tells us a great deal too, doesn't it? There's another good habit I've learned. After I check the lights and the gauges and find that the vehicle is ready to drive, I then ask myself, am I ready to drive?